All right, party people. It's time to start wrapping this thing up. Get this series done this week. And then get back to our normally scheduled programming. A little bit late last night with the vlog because this camera eats batteries like a starving piranha. And what that means is that my battery died as I was trying to download files. So I had to wait till I had a connection to my computer to actually edit the vlog. Today, we're going to talk about where you're going to stay. And in theme with our current program, what we're currently talking about, we're going to discuss staying in the Central Florida area after you land, particularly Orlando. Taking care of planning all these other things. Where are we going to stay? Well, you really got 4 options, right? You got Disney hotels, you got Universal hotels, you have third-party hotels, and you got your Vrbo, bed and breakfasty type, all that type of thing lumped in. So, where you choose to stay out of all those things, that's what we're going to talk about today. So here's the advantages to staying on Disney property. We'll go right from the top. The first thing, the transportation has a lot of options on the way from the airport to the Disney resort. You can use the Mir shuttle. You can do rideshare, rental car, of course. Each one of them has their own pluses and minuses. We went over that in the video yesterday. Check that out to really get those details. You don't get charged for overnight parking. If you stay at a Disney hotel and you have tickets or you have an annual pass, the parking at the theme parks is free, so you can drive to the theme parks and park for free there. You have amenities such as transportation, so you don't have to drive if you don't want to. You got the bus system, you got the monorail, you got the Skyliner, all depending on where you're staying. And those are all free. They also have, little pluses and minuses to them. But that's the bottom line. You have the food courts, you have restaurants. They are expensive compared to going to McDonald's or somewhere, but the food it's okay. It's good. Usually it's a little step up above the regular theme park food. I like the value resort food courts. They give you a lot of options. Disney has 3.5 resort classes. I know Disney veterans, just hang in. Give me a chance. Yeah, the value resorts. That's the All-Stars, Pop Century. I know Disney veterans, give me a chance, I said. Yes, Disney calls Art of Animation a value resort. By every definition of the word, it is not a value resort. The constant pricing of Art of Animation, because they have so many family suites and such low volume of standard rooms, always puts their price well above value and into the moderate price range. It's just a fact. It's very rare, if ever, that you will see a room at Art of Animation below $220 a night. Occasionally, but very rare. Then you have the moderates. Moderates, places like Caribbean Beach and Port Orleans, both resorts. You know, they're going to put you in a higher price range. They have some nicer amenities than the value resorts typically, although some would argue that point, at least when it comes to the Hourglass Lake resorts. And then you have the deluxe. Deluxe resorts, quite expensive. It's a luxury offering, and I don't really consider it your typical luxury option. It's not like going to a luxury hotel in Dubai or somewhere. So then you have this half option I'm talking about, and that's the DVC resorts. And honestly, if you're a DVC member, you don't really care about any of this or most of this. You already have your stuff planned out and you're pretty good at doing that. DVC has some perks and some other stuff. I'm not an expert on DVC. I've never owned it. I have stayed. I have rented points. I know the details of make or break. There is no make. It's all, there's nothing there. You're never going to get your money to even out on DVC, so it's only about personal capital. That's all DVC is. Beautiful resorts though. They really are. All kinds of different price ranges. The deluxe can be upwards of $1,000 or plus a night. Moderates, they'll get you in $250 to $500 a night. The values are typically going to be below $220 or so a night. And they all have their perks and their things. You can look up those things and do your own research and use your sleuth-like abilities and Google those sites, as someone used to say. What's our other option? All right, Universal. You stay at Universal, it's similar. You have value, what I would call moderate at like Cabana Bay, and you have the deluxe like the Hard Rock. The value resorts, of course, being what is it, Surfside and, you know, Dockside. What is it, Terra Nova and Stella Luna, I think they're called. They try and push on you that Cabana Bay is some kind of value. I think most people call it a value plus. I call it a moderate. Aventura probably fits in the same category. The rest of them, I would say, were all deluxe. Even Sapphire Falls, I think it's deluxe. They all have free transportation to the parks, but you are going to pay in parking. I'm not sure what the parking's up to now, but I believe it's close to $30 plus a night. And that may be different by resort. Last time I stayed at Dockside, and last time I stayed at Cabana Bay, I believe it was $30 a month, or a night. I stayed at Cabana Bay this past fall. Getting to the airport from there, similar thing as getting to Disney. The thing is, with the mirrors part of it, you really got to look that information up. It's not as accessible, I have found, as using mirrors to get to Disney. I think they call it something limo, but we'll look at that tomorrow when we wrap this series up. And yes, we will wrap this series up tomorrow. If you're on a Disney trip, you're better off staying at Disney. If you're on a Universal trip, you're better off staying at Universal. If you're doing a mixed trip, I'll be honest with you, I would probably do a split stay, Disney and Universal. They each bring their own perks. Universal will get you into parks a little earlier, at least in Islands of Adventure, I believe. And it'll get you on Velocicoaster or the Harry Potter attractions earlier. At Disney, you also have an earlier entry option when you stay with them. I believe at all of their parks. And if you stay in a deluxe, usually during the week, you will have a series of extra, what they call, or used to call, I think they still do, extra magic hours, only for deluxe resort guests. That will give you an extra 2 hours or so after normal park closing at those particular parks. You have to check calendar with Disney on that one. So let's talk a little bit about regular hotels. Here's the issue. You don't have those shuttles. Typically, some offer it, but typically you don't have the airport shuttles. So you're gonna have a hard time getting a shuttle from the airport to your hotel. So you have to resort to car rental, taxi, rideshare. You know the expenses associated with that if you watched yesterday. If you are not a Disney pass holder, you just have tickets, you're what they call a day guest, you will not get free parking at the parks by staying off site. Yes, you have tickets, but that does not mean that you will get free parking staying off site. You won't, and it's expensive. Same goes for Universal. If you're not a pass holder, and that's only certain levels of pass holders at Universal, you're not getting the parking. You're gonna pay. It's expensive. So there's that to consider. That's part of it. The other part is some resorts, third-party resorts, offer shuttles. Read into the fine print of those shuttles. Sometimes they're scheduled, so they're only certain times. Other times they're ticketed. Other times they're free, sometimes they're not. A lot of different shuttles. You have to stick to their schedule. You have to do what they tell you to do, going and exiting the park. And they have a specific place they pick you up at. The other option is rideshare, of course. It's always an option. But that gets expensive depending on the length of your stay. Can, anyhow. Now, here's something very important that nobody talks about. Usually when you find a hotel to stay at, you're using like hotels.com or Google or Priceline or something like that. Look at the fine print. There's a lot of fees. A lot of crazy fees they charge you. And in general, a lot of times when you stay off-site, the amenities are very basic. Difference being if you stay in a expensive resort, and there are plenty out there, like really nice resorts, give you all kinds of amenities and things to do, and water parks and massive pools and cabanas and special dining, spas, massages, all this stuff. You're gonna pay through the nose. But for some people, that's what they go for. There is another category, and that would be the Verbo. Bed and breakfast, whatever. Problem with the Verbo, it's someone's house, it's not a resort typically, but in Central Florida, it's almost always buried in a resort. And if not a resort, it's buried in a community where there are like strict rules. That's not going to affect most people. But what is lack of transportation. You're on your own, buddy. You're on your own for your transportation options to and from the park. So, ideally, if you're a pass holder at either resort and you drive there or are somewhat local, Georgia, Florida, etc., that would probably be a decent option for you. As a pass holder, you probably don't have to pay for parking. You definitely don't have to pay for parking at the Verbo, as far as I know. It gives you the amenities at home. Typically, it's a little cheaper, and it works really well for larger families, like mine. Although I haven't stayed at one yet, at least not in Central Florida. I've stayed at them elsewhere. Of course, the other thing is, in theme with what we're talking about, you can get a car rental, drive by yourself, Lyft or Uber for your transportation from your Verbo to the park. That works too. There's fees. Look at the fees. Always look to fine print. The other part of that is some of those places can be pet friendly. Disney has 3 pet friendly resorts. It's a crapshoot anywhere else. Everyone has their own little rules and regulations. But when it comes to Disney, Port Orleans Riverside, Fort Wilderness, and Art of Animation were the last places that I noticed allowed dogs, in particular pets. I actually brought my oldest Bernese Mountain Dog with me when he was 6 months old to Port Orleans Riverside. It was a good trip. He was a good boy. No complaints. He did poop on the sidewalk in a guest area, and I had to clean that up. That was extremely embarrassing, but everyone understands. Sometimes when a dog's got to go, a dog's got to go. And I thought he had already went to the bathroom for the day, and he didn't. So I had to pick that up. Okay. We get it. We've covered the flights, the transportation, the tickets, pass holders. We've now covered the hotels, where to stay. What's left? I think we've covered it all. Oh yeah. Have fun. That will do it for today. Thank you so much for coming along in this series. Tomorrow, it'll be a shorter vlog as far as FaceTime. I will show you some of the tools that I use through the magic of screen mirroring and recording. And I will reveal to you some of those apps where The websites are how you navigate them when you're trying to do the things that I've told you about doing, I've talked to you about doing. And that will put a wrap. Tomorrow will be a celebration for the end of this series, and a celebration for the weekend, because it's over and we've made it. All right. Dreams, grass, churros. We'll see you tomorrow.